In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the game of Hexdame, which is a checkers variant that is played on a hexagon board. And it is similar to international checkers in that the pieces can jump backwards, and that kings can move unlimited number of spaces. The main difference is that there are 3 forward directions and 3 backward directions, and as a result, it is impossible for a single piece to block another single piece, and as a result, there are fewer drawn endgames. It takes 3 kings to beat 1 king on the hexagon board. In international checkers, 3 kings versus 1 king is a draw. Yeah, I'm gonna play a game between my program versus the program that comes with zillions of games. Unfortunately, I haven't found any opponents at the International Computer Gaming Association to compete with. I tried emailing a few people. I'm still waiting to hear back. So maybe I'll talk about some strategies I used to program the game. So the first thing I did was to see how big an endgame table base I could make. Oh, I forgot to mention, the promotion zone is both lines in the back. So there are 9 spaces in which one can promote a piece. So one of the strategies that I came up with, what I discovered when I was working on a different game called Breakthrough, which is that the way you evaluate a position is going to change as the game progresses. What's good as a structure in the opening won't be so good in the middle game and the end game. So one thing I did was to break up the game space into, for Hexdame, 16 different stages, one for each cardinality of the number of pieces on the board. I just used the cardinality of the number of pieces for the side to move, because they should be even. If they're off, if you're up a piece, that's usually a good sign that you're winning, unless there's a combination coming up. So I just used the number of pieces on the side to move as a proxy for the phase of the game going on. So each of those I have a separate evaluation function, which I tuned with machine learning. Actually, there's 32 stages, because there's 16 for when there are no kings on the board, and then 16 for when there are kings on the board, except that I think, if I remember my parameters correctly, there weren't any positions reached where there were more than 2 kings on the board, because it hits the endgame table. And obviously you don't need to learn any endgames because they're in the table already. And I think doing that, it's already played pretty strong. I'm currently running the endgame table base for international checkers. I hope to have a 6-piece endgame table. And then I can do more or less the same thing. Let's bring up that program to see how it's doing. So it's computing this 1 plus 1 versus 2 plus 2 is basically, let's zoom in a little bit. So it's computing all the endgames with 1 man plus 1 king versus 2 men plus 2 kings. It's probably going to be a couple weeks before it's done. What did the computer do here? Did we move already? There we go. So zillions of games thinks it is losing right now. I'm not sure about the strength of the zillions of games. I don't think there's ever been a contest at the ICGA for this, so who knows where Zillion stands. My program thinks that we're winning by quite a margin, because the way I've set up my machine learning, +1 means white wins, -1 means black wins. So it thinks we're winning by quite a margin there. Hopefully we're right. Let's see what we did here. Oh, in terms of the machine learning, what I've done is I took every combination of see, if we look at this board, you can form a 3x3 hexagon of 7 spaces, and there are, if I remember correctly, 22 different combinations, and there's 7 spaces. So in your opening stages where there are no kings on the board, for each stage and for each hexagon, you have 3 to the 7 different combinations of pieces that can be held there, because each cell could be empty, it could be white, or it could be black. So you got 3 to the 7, which is a little over 2,000. And then obviously there's 22 different hexagons. So that's how many weights you learn per stage. And then you got 16 opening stages, and then you got a few endgame stages where there are kings on the board. What did we do here? In the future, if I have better hardware, I might do a 6-piece endgame table to give you an idea of how big that is. You got 61 cells, right? And if you have 6 pieces on the board, that's, you got 61 choose 6, right? So let's figure that out. 58 times 57. Divide that by 6 factorial. So that's where the pieces could be, and then each piece could be one of 4, right? So it's times 4 to the. That's how many endgames of 6 pieces you have. And then each one of those takes 2 bits, right? 0, 1, because it could be win, loss, or draw. So you divide that by. So each byte can have 4 endgames. So divide that by 4. This is how many bytes of memory you would. Actually, that would fit in my computer right now. It'd just take a long time to compute, probably. I don't think it will help much, though, and here's why. Most of the 3 kings by 2 kings endgames were wins already, and for international checkers, 4 versus 2 is a little bit more uncertain. So I think, given that 3 versus 2 is a win, I think our tuple learning can figure most of that out already, and the endgame table will be more or less redundant. That's my feeling about it. I've done enough games like this to kind of have good intuition on what will work and what won't, and but I'd be curious. I mean, it'll fit in my computer. I'll let it run in the background after my checkers is finished and see what happens. So now Zillions really thinks it's losing. Oh, by the way, just observing some of the games, I've noticed that, because the first time I ever ran my program, it moved one of the pieces to the edge. Uh-oh, that doesn't seem right, because I play a lot of international checkers, and I know that doesn't look like a good move. But for Hexdame, it's actually pretty good, because because this is one of the promotion squares for your opponent, so it blocks it off right away. So. So finally we have a capture. So that changes it to a different phase of the game as far as my program is concerned. Actually, I gotta thank one of my opponents. This is why I love going to the ICGA conference. Sometimes people will say something that just brings an inspirational idea. I was playing a game of it's a checkers-like game. It's called Breakthrough at the last ICGA tournament. And one of my opponents was talking about something, and he had brought up that once you're up a piece, the game's pretty much over. And like, oh yeah, so you know, if I just divided the game into different phases of how many pieces are on the board, I can more or less assume the pieces are even. Because if they're not, it's pretty lopsided anyway, and that's, you know, if your game is lopsided, it's not that important to be to be that precise. You know, you just know that, oh, this is a losing position. We won't get to that. And it's an inspiration to use, hey, let's just use the cardinality of one side of the pieces. Sometimes the most random of conversations brings the best ideas, of just because of how random it is. Sometimes too much thought and the ideas just get lost in all the noise. Sometimes you know, earlier last year actually, I had gotten a traffic ticket, and I went to traffic court, and because I was out of work, the judge was nice to let me work it off with community service. And as part of the community service, I gave a lecture at the public library about my computer games. And when I did that, one of the kids just came up with a really stupid idea. You know, just the way he worded it brought up some inspirations of stuff I could try, and actually that led up to this game. And you know, sometimes I just love these stupid conversations because they bring up things you never thought of. Because as somebody with a PhD, I don't think too many stupid ideas, and it helps. It's weird. Okay, what did we do? So now we're really approaching winning. We got 0.71. What else have I been doing lately? There's another game that's played on a hexagon board called Abalone. And that's where you push pieces off the board. I have some ideas how to do that as well. Basically, I think the goal of that game is to push 6 of your opponent's pieces off the board. And I think the same idea might work. Breaking up the game into phases of how many pieces have already been pushed off the board. In that case, there are no kings, so it's just 3 to whatever power, so you could probably do bigger tuples, and plus there's only 6 stages, so... How many pieces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. Okay, so it's still even, but our position apparently is a whole lot stronger. Now it's projecting beyond just a win, 1.16. Yeah, so the first time I ever did an n-tuple network machine learning kind of algorithm was with the game Breakthrough. I remember just thinking it was just like magic. You know, the computer just seems to figure out what kind of combinations will win. Oh, but I didn't know how it was figuring it out. Actually, all the concepts that I've ever programmed, they always seem like magic the first time I see it. Because it's like, wow, looks like just a jumble of code, and it figures all this out, you know. Looks like we're about to king one of our pieces. Oops. I think we're gonna go. My guess is we're gonna go here. Oh no, it's this one. Looks like we have a big jump coming up. That's why the computer's projecting such a huge score. Oh no, we just have one. Oh, we can king this guy now. I don't see any combination. Maybe we move. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I remember the first time I ever wrote international checkers. This was in 2012. I didn't even know about bitboards, and I certainly didn't do any n-tuple machine learning. And my program was searching about 20,000 positions a second, and which is pretty bad. I mean, I think it's a little faster with international checkers, but even my Hexdame program is doing 600,000 or so positions a second. And obviously, I think my first program ever, the evaluation function, it was using alpha beta pruning, just like this program, but it was using a piece-square table, basically to say, well, the closer the pieces to the center, the higher a value will give it. And it played reasonably enough that I couldn't beat it, but it sucked at the tournament. Basically, all the other programs just laughed at it at the tournament. It was that bad. It was my first experience going to a checkers tournament at the ICGA. People love checkers. It's played a lot more formally than the other tournaments, and it's a good experience. So now we've already found the theoretical win. It says it's going to win on move number 88. 33 to 51. Yeah, I gotta fix my program to make it return immediately if it finds the win. I don't know why I didn't do that. That'd be helpful for the tournament. What did we do here? Oh, that's a tricky one. I gotta go up to see what we did. Up here. Okay, and then... down here. My guess is that we're going to set up a jump with one. Oh, stop. Sorry about that. My program got excited and... Oh, it found the win, and then every depth level is just the same thing. I gotta fix that in my program. It's not a big deal, though. I see what happened. I X'd out of the program. Let me see if I can find the win myself. Oh, it's got to move to the line, so... Not a big deal. We found it. Yeah, I just gotta fix my program to jump out of the loop if it finds a win. I'm hoping I spark some interest because I want to have some opponents for the ICGA tournament this summer. Thanks for watching.